Coming up this episode, what exactly is a lithograph? How does damage affect value? And a new segment that I think you'll like. I'm Tammy Confennel, and this is Collectibles Corner TV, the show for savvy collectors. Did you guys see the recent Antiques Roadshow episode where a Clyfford stills painting sold for over $500,000? It was an Antiques Roadshow record. Now this piece was sitting in someone's house for over 20 years, and they didn't think too much of it. It's my goal that regular viewers of this show be supplied with the skills needed to begin to recognize these hidden treasures. I don't want any of you sitting on a fortune and not knowing it. So with that said, I've picked out two more terms for you, and the first one is lithography. Lithography is a method for printing using a plate or stone with a completely smooth surface. It came of age in the late 19th century. It uses stone, usually limestone, and sometimes sheets of metal marked with grease or oil to print multiple copies of the same image onto paper. In 1862, the publisher Clyfford tried to launch a portfolio of lithographs by various artists, but this flopped. The artist included several superb prints by Manet. But then there was a revival in the 1870s, especially in France, with artists such as Odilon Redon, Henri Fatin-Latour, and Degas producing much of their work in this way. The need for strictly limited editions to maintain the price had been realized, and the medium had become more acceptable. Remember, a lithograph is not a painting, although it can sometimes look like one. Enamel or enameling is often seen on glass and porcelain. Enamel is a hard, glassy element consisting of colored glass ground up in fine oil and applied as decoration to an object, typically either metal or glass, and then fused on with heat. You often see this type of work on porcelain and glass, like pieces by Moser. It adds a beautiful decorative touch. Work with this decoration is said to be enameled. This show is sponsored by Collectors Information Bureau, or CIB, the website devoted to helping collectors enjoy the hobby of collecting. The CIB website provides quick, free access to hundreds of resources, including a free weekly e-newsletter, a marketplace for collectors who buy and sell, contests and giveaways, listings of collectible stores and clubs across the country, reference books, magazines, and online price guides that help collectors identify their collectibles. Visit the CIB website at www.collectorsinfo.com to learn how the Collectors Information Bureau can enrich your collecting. And by VintageRareStuff.com. If you have a Hummel collection, Yadro collection, any kind of figurine or comic book collection that you're looking to sell, take a look at www.VintageRareStuff.com and you could put it on consignment with us. We run your items on eBay and you could watch the progress as it happens. Now it's time for a viewer question with Ask Tammy. This question is from Donald in New York. Wouldn't it be cool if it's the Donald that everyone knows about in New York? Donald asks, I have some porcelain figurines, but a bunch of them have been repaired. How much does this affect their value? Well, Donald, it does affect value quite a bit. It depends what the pieces are, though. If they're Hummels, for example, a repaired piece is worth about 1/20th of what an unrepaired piece is worth. But if you have something incredibly rare, like an ivory sculpture or even a very rare vase, you'll find that you can still get a good price even with a small bit of damage. It will definitely decrease it, but some pieces will still be worth a pretty penny in any condition. Rarity is really the key. Donald wins 3 months of Collectibles for the Future, the ultimate resource for savvy collectors. You can ask me your question at the Ask Tammy link here on CollectiblesCornerTV.com, and it may even get read on the show. If you're watching this and you're not on CollectiblesCornerTV.com, please check it out. It has tons of resources that you don't want to miss. Now it's time for a treasure hunter tip. This tip is something that you can use for collectibles, but it's also just a great resource that you could generally use on your computer. It's Control F. If you press the Control key and then the letter F, a search box pops up. You can enter any word, partial word, or phrase, and if it occurs on that page, it'll bring you right to it and highlight it. This is perfect if you're reading a long description and you want to know if a particular artist is featured. Just Control F, put in his name, and it takes you right there. On Mac computers, it's Apple plus F. I seem to have lost my dog, but you'll want to tune in every week for these treasure hunter tips, and if you haven't already signed up to receive updates, please do. You can sign up on any page here at collectiblescornertv.com. You may have noticed that this segment is not Tammy on the road. Well, this week I wasn't able to travel anywhere, but I've brought a couple of pieces to appraise for you. The first is a Hulk comic, number 5, by Marvel. This is a Volume 1, number 5, from January of 1963 by Marvel Comics. There were only 6 issues in Volume 1, and Volume 2 came out in 1968. This one is in fair to good condition. It can be determined by the fact that there are a few small pieces missing, the internal pages aren't brittle, and there's nothing really missing out of the book, but the book does show signs of brittle. It would sell at auction for between $200 and $350, so you can't take this one all the way to the bank, but it's a nice amount for a comic in this condition. The next piece I have is by Henri, and it's called Springtime Stroll. It's a beautiful carving by Juan Ferrandez. Henri's an Italian company, and with the advent of eBay, their work has really become accessible and highly collected. It's approximately 8 inches tall, and these are all hand-painted, and a lot of the carving is also done by hand. Henri numbers most of their pieces, and this one is number 372 of 750, so not that many were produced. There's no chips or repairs, and there's no paint missing. At auction, this piece should bring between $150 and $250. If you have something you'd like to see appraised, please let me know. You can comment above this video, or you can use the Ask Tammy feature to send me a question. Well, that about wraps it up. Tune in next week where I talk to a really interesting person in the world of collectibles. I'm Tammy Confetto. This is Collectibles Corner TV, the show for savvy collectors.